All sports talk shows are the same, right?
I am bothered by everything.
You gotta go back to football school.
The goal of this guy, it's just immeasurable.
Wrong. In a world filled with talking heads more interested in their own celebrity than actually knowing the sports world, it's hard to find the people who really care about sports first. Look no further. Wire to Wire has it all covered. These guys have the knowledge and the cred to back up their opinions. No hot takes to get attention, just straight up opinions. Know anyone else who correctly called the 2020 World Series and March Madness? How about 70% on the NFL and NCAA football last year? You don't. Bottom line, these guys know their shit. They aren't doing it for attention, they're doing it for passion. Wire to Wire, live every Wednesday, 8:30 Eastern, only on Toxic Radio and wherever you find podcasts. Hey guys, dating life gone pretty shitty?
I find you so creepy, I think you should have to walk around with a bell around your neck.
Finding yourself getting a little desperate for some female companionship?
Alexa, tell me you love me.
Hell no. You disgust me.
What you need is to upgrade your style right now. The Toxic Store's got exactly what you need. Pick up some stylish gear featuring Deviant Gamer, Toxic Radio, and the Heavy Metal Happy Hour.
Oh, yeah!
You can find the store through the Toxic Radio app or toxicradio.net. Get in the game.
Do I make you horny, baby?
Get yourself a little love.
That guy's getting boobies. Yeah, he is.
Toxic Radio and the Toxic Store. Don't buy it safe. Buy it toxic.
What's up, everyone? You are back for Birds Deep on this beautiful snowy evening. If you're listening from outside the area, yeah, we're supposed to be getting this impending doom of a snowstorm. We'll see what happens. Apparently, people drive like jerk-offs when it snows or rains. I think they could be worse in the rain, but they are pretty bad in the snow, too. You know, especially people that want to blow by you. It's like, oh, it's, you know, just spray it on you. I don't know. I just think people
You
suck.
without a hat looks like snow.
I know. I decided to go without a hat tonight.
Love it. Love it.
Next week I'm not doing a shirt. I'm just going to have a hat on.
Well, that would be even better. I can't wait.
Yep.
I'll tune in for that one.
The Bleeding Green Nation's excited. They're probably listening to it right now.
You want to introduce yourself?
Oh, yeah, I'm that guy. Yeah, I'm Matt. Always have a hat, usually. THEEGODFREY. And next to me, I got Mean Gene.
Me! Gene.
We got a lot to talk about
today.
today.
They were waiting for my introduction. That's why
they were.
I wanted to. They were waiting for
suspense.
It. Well, you know.
So they, unfortunately, we don't have any grades for you this week because the Eagles got shellacked.
I got grades,
but we do have.
Just kidding.
Other stuff we could talk about. Perfect. What is the perfect Eagles offseason?
That's what I'm pulling up right now. I'm sharing these groups, and I have my whole perfect offseason. I'm ready for you guys. I'm ready.
And we're going to talk about the coaching carousel.
Yeah, we got to.
And what has happened and should happen, but that hasn't happened. And you know, we'll touch outside some other football stuff. There's plenty to talk about, plenty of going around, plenty of controversy, and you know, we got plenty to go deep on so far. But the perfect offseason is probably what all Eagles fans are thinking right now. Where do they go next? When you turn on the radio, what do you hear? Is Jalen Hurts the guy? Is he not the guy? We dissected that pretty thoroughly last week, but it's probably will always still be part of the conversation because we like to obsess over our team here in Philadelphia. Hence the word fanatic. And we're super fans, right? I mean, especially Eagles fans. So, you know, do you think that the Eagles would ever have the problem that the Rams are having right now with tickets?
I think the issue with that is, I think that's soft. Let's talk about that first. I think that's the softest shit that you could ever do as a fan base. I think so too. I remember when the Washington Nationals used to do it in Citizens Bank South.
Yeah, because no one was really going to the Nationals game, by the way. So it's not like they were hurting themselves. Like it's not like they were buying them before the people that were lined up to buy the Nationals tickets.
I just think it's super soft when people do when organizations do that. I think that, you know, you're essentially trying to stop SoFi Stadium into turning into, you know, basically the 49 Levi Stadium South.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what's funny about that is part of the reason that's a problem is because there's a Rams fan base, but it's not as long and heralded as a traditional fan base as the Niners.
St. Louis.
Yeah. Well, they were Rams, then St. Louis.
Yeah, they were St. Louis for a while.
Yeah, for a long time. And, then we have, that's you just don't have the tradition there. Even with the Chargers were in San Diego for a while, and with the Eagles, that wouldn't happen. They were playing the Eagles. They would find a way to buy those tickets. They'd be paying people double. In fact, the funny thing is I did a thing on my show last night about it. There were people that were 49ers fans that were registered that live in LA that were helping people buy tickets. And I know a guy that's an Eagles fan that went out there and he was registered because he bought tickets and they hit him up about buying tickets. So it's a flawed process anyway. And I'm just like,
it just is a deterrent, and it's a terrible deterrent. And it's really just soft of your organization.
Should your coach be thinking about that before the NFC Championship game?
Well, listen, Kyle Shanahan, say what you want. He owns 100% space in Sean McVay's head.
He just bought a plot of metaverse inside his head.
He's got 6-0 versus him in that division. Sean McVay's never beaten him, so guess we'll see.
They went. I don't know if it was the stadium, the COVID year that they had the Niners playing in, or I can't remember if it was in LA. But I just remember them beating them with C.J. Beathard one week, and I was like, "How the fuck is that possible?"
Factual, it happened.
I was like, "What?" I lost. I bet I had a parlay going on that game, and I lost because of that game. It was like, "There's no way." C.J. Beathard, Aaron Donald, nope.
But he did it.
And did.
William Joseph's checking in. It's L.A. Worst sports fans. 49ers stay there rent free.
They do stay there rent free. They do. So I mean that is soft. I agree with you. I mean, and it's not something I want to hear my coach talking about. And it could be a 49ers fan, Eagles fan, any of these traditional fans. They're going to take over. They said last time it was like 65-70% Niners fans. And you could tell because when you heard it play, it was like, wait, is this in L.A.?
It felt like a soccer game.
Yeah.
Like they had like a split arena. Like people were cheering for everything no matter what happened. Like it was like a hit.
It's funny. I talked about that last night. And it's like I've been to 3 Premier League games over in England. And they will section off a small slither for the away fans. And if they catch you causing ruckus in the home fans, they will escort your ass right out of there. And so
in Philadelphia, they don't need to have a section. They just do it.
Yeah.
They just escort you out of there regardless.
Yep, for sure.
All right, so let's get in this Eagles offseason because that's what I've been waiting for.
Okay,
so I broke mine down. First, like re-signees, people that you cap casualties. And I think with the recent retirement of Brandon Brooks, the extra cap room allows you to understand a little bit more about what they're going to move in the off season. Like now, an offensive lineman is 100% in play with Brandon Brooks retiring.
Right.
Like where I didn't think it was because they had so much money invested in the position, especially if Kelsey came back. But now, like their offensive line next year could have looked like Lane Johnson, Brandon Brooks, Jason Kelsey, Landon Dickerson, and Jordan Mailata, which would be absurd. That would be like unfair. You'd have the best offensive line in football with a 2-cent quarterback.
Even though I agree 100% on that, but let's say Kelsey retires.
Here goes the troll, Jack Hoff, Rodney. I know who you are. It's fine, but
Jack Hoffer.
He's a Steelers fan, and he thinks Philly fans are 100,000%.
Oh, he's probably one of those Steelers fans that will say Tom Brady was given everything, and he's not the GOAT.
Well, Tom Brady is the GOAT, but he did cheat. Let's be fair about it.
Sure. I agree on that.
Just because we're the most passionate doesn't mean we're the worst. I promise you right now we wouldn't be blocking other teams' fans from getting in the stadiums because we were scared they were going to take it over.
We have that natural home field advantage. The lure scares people away.
Yeah. You want to come in there dirty-ass South Philly.
Yeah. Yeah, especially when it was the vet. They were like, no, thank you. But, yeah, man, I if Kelsey retires and Landon Dickerson is going to move over center, you got to replace 2 guards. But if you had to replace, I think you'd rather replace a guard versus a center or a tackle, right? I mean, I'm not saying they're easy to get, but you can get good guards in the later rounds.
They already have a center. I'm telling you right now.
It's Landon Dickerson, right?
Yeah, correct. He is going to be the guy that plugs in for Jason Kelsey. I think, so my perfect offseason, let's talk about the offensive line. Jason Kelsey comes back. Landon Dickerson stays at guard. And they sign a guard. I would rather not use a first rounder on a guard. But it comes into play. Like, I wouldn't be upset if they did it. But my perfect offseason on the offensive line is Kelsey comes back, and you start the season with Lane Johnson, free agent right guard, Kelsey, Dickerson, Mailata. That's my offensive line going into next year.
Yeah, with Hurts projected to be quarterback, your offensive line has to be able to run block like they did last year. I mean, that is the focal point of your offense as it stands right now. Unless something drastically changes in the offseason, right now, you're going to be a running team again. I mean, it's pretty easy to project that, I would think, right?
So, see, but my perfect offseason doesn't have Jalen Hurts as our starting quarterback next year.
Well, that's fair.
I went with a realistic perfect offseason, too. Like, I didn't go, like, I was talking to my friend on the way up here. He's like, yeah, like, fire Howie Roseman. Like, they're not going to do that. Like, I would love them to do that.
They're not.
But, like, I went with something that was a little bit more realistic. And, yeah. So, for the Philadelphia Eagles' sake, I have the Philadelphia Eagles trading Jalen Hurts, a first-rounder, 2 first-rounders, essentially, one this year, one next year, a second-rounder for Deshaun Watson.
Okay. Fair enough. And that's assuming the perfect part is the legal issues have been settled and he can play next year.
I mean, he's going to play next year. The legal issues, as far as I'm concerned, are settled. He hasn't been put on any exempt list. Charges have not moved forward. They're moving towards a settlement. At the end of the day, Deshaun Watson, perfect offseason would be.
And that was more the Texans not letting him play than the league.
Look, dude, I could do a whole show on what that organization did. The lawyer that's suing him is neighbors with the owner of the Houston Texans.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Nope.
That's not a smear job if I've ever seen one. Yeah, I don't want to play for your organization. I would like a trade. Next, 2 weeks later, the lawyer goes, "Oh yeah, I have all these girls that."
Yeah, well, he found some skeletons in his closet. The mistake Deshaun.
Correct. I think he did it.
Yeah, the mistake Deshaun wants to make is, listen, if you're gonna get jerked off, go to China or Thailand.
Jesus Christ, get me off this show. I can't. Don't say that shit out loud.
But I'm just saying. I mean, that he was meeting girls on Instagram. It's not smart, especially when you're a celebrity and an athlete like that, right? Like, he's sliding in the DMs.
100%. You can't be private messaging girls on IG and hiring masseuses off IG. Like, he knew what he was looking for. He was looking for a rub and tug. Like, it's very obvious. Like, I can go on and on. Like, I've read this story at length.
Yeah.
I mean, he was suggestive of during his rub and tugs, which in reality, like, I don't know, bro.
Go where it's legal. Go to Amsterdam. If that's what I'm saying.
He's not going to go to Amsterdam once a week, bro. Stop it.
I mean, it depends how bad you want the tug.
So, Jack, let me ask you a question real quick. Do you really think Miles Sanders is an every down back? He said a perfect offseason wouldn't include Hurts, but would include a way to get Sanders more involved. Now, I think me and Matt talked about this at length on the show, but I'd love to get your opinion. Do you think Miles Sanders is a 20 to 25 carry a week back? Because I don't. So he always seems to have an ankle injury or a nagging injury, and he just doesn't seem to me like an every down back. He feels like a perfect thunder and lightning type back. If you have two, like a 1A, 1B type back, I would love your opinion on that, though.
I mean, I don't think he's an every down back. And the reason why is because of what we just talked about, right? So he's been in the league now 3 years. He's only played 16 games in his rookie year. He had his most carries that year. Everybody likes to point to his yards per carry, the 5.5. But if you're getting 137 attempts in 12 games, how many carries does that fashion out to? 5.5, great. So, the problem is his stats lie sometimes. People will look at the overall stats, not zoom in and not look at the individual games and what happened. You got a game that was 150 yards plus against the Jets, right? I mean, is that you're not taking it away from them, but that's not every game. So that's the outlier. And the problem is people will just get into their fantasy football mind when they think about Miles Sanders, like, oh, he's great. No, man, he's not bad. But he is a complimentary back that could get you some extra touches.
So I wouldn't go as far as complimentary back. I think complimentary back's taken a little bit too far.
Well, I don't mean.
I think it's like a
we might have different definition of complimentary
like
back.
50-50 split.
Sure, he's not. He's definitely not a back that you can make your workhorse because he won't last through the season.
I actually have the running back position addressed on my list.
Okay.
Do you want to go to running backs next, or do you have an offensive line thought process?
I think offensive line you got to draft and think toward the future and build the depth because people are going to get older later on. I would like to see a couple late round guards taken, and maybe even I don't know. If I'm going to lie to you if I tell you who the free agent guards are out there. I do not know, but Eagles have been known to spend money at that position. a la Brandon Brooks, I believe, was a sign, not a trade, right?
The one that I want, he was a trade.
Was he a trade? Okay.
From the Texans. But the guard I want's a Laken Tomlinson. He's from the San Francisco 49ers.
I know that is.
He'll be
I've
a
seen him
free
play.
agent. He won't be that much money. He's not insanely overpriced. He's not looked at as, or Trent Williams, but he's a good guard that could fill right in, and he would fit right into that part of the line. So Laken Tomlinson was the guard that I want them to sign.
Yeah, I would be okay with that. I want Kelsey back too.
And that's not an expensive sign either. Like, let me just be clear. The Eagles have $48 million in cap space now with Brandon Brooks gone. And in my restructure of the Eagles offseason, I actually have them parting ways with another huge cap piece. So, but I'll get to that when I talk about it.
Would that be on the defense?
Yeah, it would.
Okay. Yeah, we could go running back. I mean, running back's interesting.
So the running back position's simple. There's 2 running backs that are going to get paid this season from what they did during this season. One's Leonard Fournette. He's a free agent now. The other one's Cordarrelle Patterson. The Eagles aren't getting either one of them.
I don't want Cordarrelle Patterson. Even if they want, please, if they got him, I'd be upset.
Why?
I don't think you don't think that's an outline
team-friendly deal. It's
all right on a team-friendly deal, but you don't think
I think he's a perfect Thunder and Lightning because he's powerful to go with Miles Sanders. But the guy that I want to go with that's not going to get paid much, he might get like a $3 or $4 million deal, is Melvin Gordon. Melvin Gordon is aging.
But he's not dust yet.
No, but he's good enough to be in a 50-50 split with Miles Sanders, and then you have Kenneth Gainwell as your third.
Good hands out of the backfield.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah, and here's the thing. This is another thing people don't think about when it comes to Miles Sanders, running back. He has not proven to be an efficient, effective pass catcher out of the backfield. He has not shown that. And
is that not the understatement?
Yeah.
Here?
So
he hasn't proven to. His hands stink.
Right.
Let's be real about it. They stink.
So that would be a good compliment because Melvin Gordon has good hands out of the backfield, and he can catch the ball out of the backfield. And he was productive this year. He was just in a timeshare with the younger Javonte Williams. So I would like that. I mean, I would be totally okay with that. And you probably could get him on a cheaper deal. I mean, I don't see why you couldn't. That would, hopefully he doesn't sign with us and duck out on us like Frank Gore did that year. Just kidding.
Jack, let me ask you a question. One more thing. I'm sorry. Trey Turner is another guard that I was looking at, Pittsburgh Steeler. How is he? Like, you're a Steelers fan. Are you guys re-signing him? Do you think he'd be back? Do you even want him back? I know the Steelers' offensive line needs to be rebuilt.
Does it ever?
But Trey Turner, to me, looked decent. But I don't know how he would fit in. I think you would have a little bit more of an insight on that than me. You want to?
What about some taking a shot on some guys that are free agents that, if you don't get a Melvin Gordon, how do you feel about a Rashard Penny or Raheem Mostert?
First of all, Raheem Mostert is worthless. Don't sign him. I love Rashad Penny, but I don't think the Seattle Seahawks let him go.
What about Marlon Mack? What about taking a shot on Marlon Mack?
Marlon Mack is a great complimentary piece for Miles Sanders, and you can get him on like a veteran minimum almost.
What about Ronald Jones?
I don't want any parts of that guy.
No parts of that guy.
None.
He does have hands of stone. How about this guy? Good utility back. Darrell Williams. Chiefs.
No chance.
Damian Williams.
No.
Okay.
I want a complimentary back to Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders is going to be on your roster, so you'd want a good running back to be a Thunder and Lightning type guy. I think Melvin Gordon's
Here's
that
a guy you could get on the cheap that, when given the chance, he has performed well. I know you're going to laugh when I say this. Wayne Gallman. I'm talking about, like, you invite him to training camp on a 1-year deal.
So
cheap.
I'll put it to you this way. Wayne Gallman was on the Falcons roster all year this year, and he couldn't take carries from Mike Davis.
Or Cordell Patterson.
Cordell Patterson had a good year.
Yeah, I'm saying, and Cordell Patterson was better than Mike Davis this year, too. I mean, just thinking about guys out there you could get on a cheap, maybe see what they got. Maybe they, you're not going to commit to them as your number one. But I think the Eagles need a couple more horses in the backfield. I don't know if I feel confident about Jordan Howard's health going forward. And Miles Sanders isn't a feature guy. I mean, it's you've seen it. We don't need to see anything else. He's had a chance to be the feature guy. They've given him the chance to take that role. And if there was any offense where he could take advantage of that and become that guy, it was this offense this year. And he didn't do it.
Okay, so let's continue to move forward. The running back position, where would you go?
I mean,
staying what we have. What are you doing?
No, I think I want to get someone in the late round. And
you want to draft someone again?
Yeah, I want to draft.
Just drafted Kenny Gainwell though.
I think if you're going to have this type of offense, I you need to have it
I think
going.
you have a lot of 5th-round running backs on the roster right now.
I
think you need one guy that's going to split with Miles Sanders, and you go to 1A, 1B.
My number one guy free agency was with Melvin Gordon. My backup guy, which I know we wildly disagree on this, would be Sony Michel.
Yeah, mine would be Marlon Mack. I think you said it perfectly.
Yeah, Marlon Mack would be good, but I don't know what's. The
not
only
a
thing
lot of tread on the tires.
There's not. It's just how is he coming off that injury, and they didn't give him any.
He looked fine in the little they played him, and then they wanted to try to trade him because they seen that he looked fine.
Stole him in a dynasty league on free agency, by the way, but
it's not bad. Not a bad stall.
Yeah, but Marlon Mack, that would be my top 3.
My big move comes at the wide receiver position.
Oh, okay. And this is assuming we got Deshaun Watson, right? So
yeah.
I mean, I'm interested in that. Me personally, I didn't even say quarterback what I would want to do, actually. So quarterback,
you're keeping Jalen Hurts. You already said it.
No, I didn't say that. I said I was assuming we are based on predictions. That didn't say it was my perfect offseason. My perfect offseason for quarterback, really, I would like Russell Wilson. I mean,
Russ is going to be more expensive than Deshaun.
He is, correct.
And I'll tell you why he's going to be more expensive. You would think like the younger quarterback would be more because he has nothing on his name. Like he's clean as can be. He can be your franchise quarterback. The asking price from Seattle is 3 firsts and a second.
Yeah, they're not getting that from anybody though. Nobody's giving that to them.
For a franchise quarterback, man.
Listen, they got to get a team in a desperate situation.
That's Seattle situation that needs to change. They have to rebuild. They have to retool.
Yeah, I don't see them getting 3 firsts and a second. But we'll see. It will be interesting. I mean, there's always a buyer out there, but that's got to have to be a team in a desperate position. I could see, the Falcons, not the Falcons, the Vikings wanting to get away from Kirk Cousins and maybe do something like that. But will Russ go to Minnesota? Highly doubt it. But that my perfect offseason would be it would cost more, but I would like Russell Wilson because I think he can help raise the level. So can Deshaun Watson, but.
I just want the younger quarterback that can stay with the team longer.
Yeah.
Like, the end of Russell Wilson's contract, he's 39 years old.
It's true.
He's in a long contract. He signed a huge deal.
We're doing this draft style, though, so you got the first pick on the quarterback, so I'm not taking the same guy.
I don't mind, bro. So, like, then I'm going to do my first pick on the wide receiver, too, because I've been on him forever, and I think he's great value. I think, you're going to look at Chris Godwin, you're going to look at Mike Williams, you're going to look at all these receivers that are going to get paid. But the one receiver that is undervalued because he's never had a good quarterback, it's very simple. It's Allen Robinson. Give me Allen Robinson. He was on a franchise deal over there in Chicago. Obviously, anytime he dinged himself, he's like, I don't want to play. I'm on a franchise tag. They're forcing him to be there. They're terrible head coach.
They fucked him in Chicago.
Oh, of course they did.
And I'm glad you brought him up because a friend of mine actually might be listening to this show. And this is what I yell at people and say, you're not watching the games. Because I would hear he's washed up. And people say that because he didn't have a good fantasy season. He's not washed up.
No.
What they were doing is
shaking the table.
They were running him on routes that they had no business running with the quarterbacks they had. He's going deep. He was usually playing out of slot. He played at a slot last year.
You were playing left tackle for the Chicago Bears.
No, I wasn't. But you can see.
It might as well have been you.
Oh,
Jason Peters stinks.
Yeah, that's true.
They had no time in the pocket for him to develop any route chemistry. They had 3 different quarterbacks play for them this year.
None. And an awful head coach on top of that. And I agree 100%. So I agree with you. My number one would be Allen Robinson because I want a veteran receiver in here that could produce. And
when we say veteran, I don't think people realize how old Allen Robinson is.
He's about 28, isn't he? 27, 28? He's got to be 28. I'd be willing to bet he's 28. I like him, though, because he's
28. Bro, do you memorize these kids' ages?
No,
you would need one of these.
There, it was too far away. My damn sound effect box won't work. So I just kind of see stuff visually, but Allen Robinson, I'm a big fan of, and a lot of people are down on him, and you're not looking at what's going on around him if you are. You're just not. And I think it'd be a perfect sign for
He's had some really good quarterbacks. He went from Blake Bortles to Mitchell Trubisky, and then he had Glennon.
But here's the thing. I like him because he can produce. He produced with Mitchell Trubisky, though. He had a really good couple of years with him. And if a guy could produce with a quarterback like that,
I got news for you. Mitchell Trubisky is going to start on an NFL roster next year.
I could see it.
He is. He's going to get a job next year.
I don't think he. So listen, Mitchell Trubisky isn't a world beater. I don't think he was as horrible as people made him out to be. In Chicago, he was never going to get a chance because they drafted Patrick Mahomes after him that year. You're never going to win. They're like, we took Pat at 10.
Patrick Mahomes, Deshaun Watson.
I know, but
they did a really bad job in that draft.
I know, man. That's why he'll never. You
could throw a dart and get a Hall of Fame quarterback, and they got Mitch Trubisky.
Right. And they moved up to 2.
They gave a lot to San Fran to do it too.
Yeah. So I mean, listen, Allen Robinson is relatively healthy. He's only had one major injury, and I feel like why was he going to put his body on the line for a team that wasn't putting him in a good position?
I agree with you 100%. That's why I'm all in on Eagles getting Allen Robinson. They'll get him at a very reasonable rate, probably $7.5 million a year, $8 million a year, when top tier wide receivers are going for 12 to 15.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's a veteran that will go in there immediately have an impact with Devontae Smith. I think him and Devontae Smith being on both sides of the football, you throw Quez Watkins in your slot. You can even run Devontae out of your slot sometimes too if you want to run like Quez on the outside, running those obviously the fly routes, the go routes.
Allen Robinson's 2020 stats: 100 receptions, 1,250 yards, and 6 touchdowns. And
then they put him on a franchise tag, and he said, all right, do you want to put me on a franchise tag? I'm going to make sure I don't get hurt.
98 receptions the year before. The year before he had 55.
And he doesn't drop the ball. I don't think he has a drop in 3 years.
Yeah.
I'm serious. Google that. That's insane. He doesn't drop the ball.
He's up there, I think, and people are sleeping on it. I hope they do because Eagles can get him cheap. I hope they do.
And I feel like it's a perfect complementary piece. He can get you a first down. He's a guy that can catch the ball. See, like the problem with Devontae Smith and Quez Watkins Devontae, as much as I want him to be a possession receiver, he's not.
Oh.
He's 170 pounds.
And Quez Watkins is a vertical stretcher, but we don't really have a quarterback.
I've eaten things bigger than Devontae Smith.
Yeah, he is small. I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's pretty big what you ate. I don't want to know what it was, but it sounds like a baby elephant. If it's to 170 pounds, that's a lot, man.
She's small, bro.
She's small. Yeah, I like Allen Robinson.
I can't have a wide receiver on my team that's less weight than the girls I date.
I mean, do you think they stop at Allen Robinson and sign him some more receiver talent? I mean, if you can get some guys on the cheap, right?
Yes, you stop at Allen Robinson. You have a first round pick invested in Devontae Smith.
But you need some depth.
First round pick invested. Yeah, your 5th and 6th receivers can easily be Jalen Reagor. He could be your 5th guy.
Good old Jalen.
Listen, they're not going to get rid of him. They invested a first round pick in him 2 years ago.
Yeah,
He's not going to leave.
I just think
get that out of your head.
I don't think he's going to leave. I just think he's just mentally not.
Give him another offseason. Give him another season with in the right system. Get him a quarterback. Give him a leader. I don't know, man. I can only hope for the guy.
What about a guy like Mike Williams?
I would stay far away from him.
Me too.
He's overpriced. He's often injured, and he's literally a one-trick pony.
Yep. I agree. What about a Christian Kirk?
One-trick pony. We have 2 Christian Kirks.
What about a Juju Smith-Schuster?
Fuck Juju, man.
No Juju.
Juju Smith-Schuster. Listen, here's
You're
the
not
truth,
into
right?
the Juju.
Juju Smith-Schuster was a very good receiver when Antonio Brown was on the other side.
Yeah.
The moment he became the X-receiver on your team, he no longer was a very good receiver.
He had a good year the year after, but after that, it's just like he went down. Then they drafted, then Deontay Johnson got above him, and then he became a slot guy. Then he got hurt. I mean, if you got him on the cheap.
I don't want Juju Smith-Schuster at all.
Okay.
And Juju's made it very clear that he wants to play with Patrick Mahomes.
He said that? I thought he said he wanted to go back to Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh or Kansas City are 2 spots. You're not getting him. Don't worry about him.
Yeah.
You're not overpaying.
No, I'm just
putting
some stuff there. All right, so we're done with receiver. I'm Allen Robinson is where I would have went to.
Okay. Here I'm going to get a little frisky here on the defensive line.
Okay. Yeah.
Where do you want to go next? Tight end. We're fine.
Yeah.
Dallas Goedert's going to be your starting tight end.
I'd just like to see him maybe get some blocking depth on a tight end, maybe like a veteran tight end behind him, but that's it pretty much.
Okay.
You don't got to really do anything.
Richard Rodgers not doing it for you.
Is he still on the team?
I don't know. Just fucking goes.
Yeah.
They had Kroom.
Someone like that.
They had the training camp wonder that was Tyree Jackson.
Yeah, he got hurt really bad in the last.
Yeah, he did.
So who knows where he's going to be?
He won't be on a team next year.
No,
and it sucks for the kid.
Yeah, injury settlement. Yeah, tight end we're good. So I don't disagree there.
So defensive lines where I've been waiting to get to.
All right, shoot it off.
Okay, listen, you can't cut Brandon Graham. You got to hope he retires. And I love Brandon Graham. You just got to hope he retires.
Well, is it a big cap number next year for Brandon Graham?
Not a crazy one, but that's not the point. What you need to do is you need to move on from Fletcher Cox. You have to move on from Fletcher Cox.
What kind of cap hit is it?
Fletcher?
Yeah.
A trade would not be terrible. I think it's $18 million in dead cap over the next 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be against it.
Got to move.
You're gonna
on
get
from
like
Fletcher Cox.
I think best scenario is like a 4th round pick you would get for him. But I mean,
it's fine. I want the money.
Right. Yeah, but why not?
The cap savings next year would be $14 million.
Okay, so what about any of the free agents out there? Got Dante Fowler, Calais Campbell, JPP.
No.
Akeem Hicks.
Akeem Hicks would be amazing, but he's going to be very expensive.
Mario Addison.
No.
Jadeveon Clowney on a 1 year.
No.
Okay.
I want to draft
Solomon Thomas.
No.
Okay.
I want to draft. Listen, the Eagles
Derek Barnett. Just kidding.
The Eagles prioritize their defensive line position. They do it every year. They've always prioritized defensive line. They use the first round capital on Derek Barnett. They use first round capital on Fletcher Cox. They use first round capital on Brandon Graham. They use first round picks to get defensive linemen.
This is a deep defensive lineman draft.
I think there's 2 really elite ones, and we're not going to get either one.
Those are going to be top 8, top 10,
top 2,
top 2. Oh, that
maybe
league.
3.
Oh, you're talking about the kid from Michigan, and what about the kid from Georgia? Is he a top 10?
No, the kid from Georgia would be what you're really looking at.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't mind Jordan Davis to replace Fletcher Cox, though. He's a defensive tackle from Georgia. That guy is a monster. So you look at Vita Vea, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jordan Davis is 300. Look, dude, pull up Jordan Davis's height and weight. He's like 345, and he's strong as like he's unbelievable. He would be a top 10 pick if he could play 3 downs in a row.
Is Jordan okay? There he is. He's got like these. Oh, that's a different Jordan Davis. Never mind. He's 6'6", 340. Yeah, that's
from Georgia.
That's a giant.
And he's a monster. He disrupts every play. There's not an offensive lineman that can stand in front of the guy.
Yeah, I would love that. I mean, you know,
he immediately helps your interior run defense, and he immediately helps getting at the quarterback from the inside, like moving the quarterback outside of the pocket.
Yeah, I want a DN too. That's a game wrecker.
He's not a DN.
I know he's a DT. He's a tackle. But I mean, do they go that deep in the draft? I mean, I was watching like the 49ers game, right?
Okay.
Nick Bosa was really fucking them up.
100%.
And like, I'm like, man, wouldn't it be nice to have a guy like that?
There's no game that you have to look at more than the Chargers Raiders. What Max Crosby did to the Chargers offensive line was absolutely.
Yeah.
They couldn't block him.
Yep.
It's unblockable.
And if you have a game wrecking, it could even be a defensive tackle. It doesn't have to be defensive. If you have a game wrecking lineman like that, it can change the whole game for your defense. It just disrupts everything. So I want someone like that on the D line, and I want him to be young, and I want to have him for 5 years. So
NFL.com just did a mock draft, okay? And I want to tell you, Aiden Hutchinson's going 2, and Kayvon Thibodeau's going 3, which are the 2 DNs that really, really, really stand out to me. Ajabu from Michigan is going 7 in this draft, but I actually think the Eagles could end up getting Ajabu with their first and Jordan Davis with their 3rd first-round draft pick. I feel like if you get Ajabu from Michigan and you get Jordan Davis, that's where I spend my first-round capital. Now, the other one's obviously going to get Deshaun Watson. That's where I spend my...
What do you think they're paying for Deshaun Watson?
He has a contract. I'll read it to you.
No. I meant as far as what they got to trade.
I told you, a first this year, a first next year, Jalen Hurts, and a 2nd.
You think they'll go for that? Because I mean, they were asking for more.
They were not. They were asking for 2 firsts and 2 seconds. You're getting them Jalen Hurts, 2 firsts and a 2nd.
I think they're high on Davis Mills. Man, the Texans are just such bad. They're so bad. Just
Deshaun Watson's next few years. So once he gets traded from the Texans, he'll have a $51 million dead cap hit.
Mm-hmm.
So what he'll essentially earn from the Eagles would be $35 million, $37 million, $32 million, and $32 million.
So Eagles,
and that's a franchise quarterback. And like, if the Eagles do everything that I hope that they do and have a perfect offseason, they're Super Bowl contenders in 1 year.
What about linebacker? I mean, you're not satisfied with linebacker, right?
So I said this was going to be realistic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Of course I'm not satisfied with linebacker. But realistically, the Philadelphia Eagles and Howie Roseman have never, ever, ever valued the linebacker
Even
position.
before him, it's been organizational, really.
Jeremiah Trotter was the last, and they didn't even value him. They let him leave to try to prove a point. We talked about that last week.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of paying him, they let him go to Washington. Like, see, we told you were only good here, but you lost 2 NFC championship games because he wasn't on the roster. Watching Levon Kirkland and Mark Simonu try to block people or cover people.
Yeah, that was bad. Nate Wayne too. I remember him. Yeah, that's
Yeah, see, I love PD's thought. Ajabu, Jordan Davis, and Nakobe Dean with the first 3. So that's if you keep Jalen Hurts on the roster, obviously. I love that, bro. I would take that all day, twice on Sunday.
Oh, Nakobe Dean. I know him just from the championship game.
Yeah, Nakobe Dean's unbelievable. And he's a leader.
I would love that. Now, just remember, here's a stat for you.
My
What year
perfect
did
off season has Jonathan Gadden. I wanted to mention this before, getting signed as the Houston Texans head coach, and us bringing in somebody like Wink Martindale. I would love him.
Is that the former Ravens defensive coordinator?
Yes.
He got canned.
I know. He had disagreements with the head coach, and Harbaugh won that.
Yeah, well, I mean, definitely he's going to win that. So my question is, the Eagles, just to give you guys, or not a question, Eagles have not drafted a linebacker in the first round since 1979.
Yep, they don't value the position.
So, I mean, it's even gone through ownership changes. That's.
I'm curious to see how many linebackers they drafted in the second round.
Yeah. Well, this is just off of the Draft Network. I don't know how credible these guys are, but this is what they say the top 10 linebackers are.
Okay.
Nakobe Dean's on there. Obviously, I don't think this is in order of ranking. Could be wrong. No, it is. So they have Devin Lloyd as number 1 from Utah.
Devin Lloyd is number 1.
Number 2, Nakobe Dean.
Okay. I think Nakobe Dean's better than Devin Lloyd, but Devin Lloyd's the number 1 ranked.
Christian Harris from Alabama, number 3.
He's see, the best kid from Alabama is staying there because he's that young. He's a D end. I talked about him on the show at length. But this kid is also very good. You're talking about Christian Harris, you said, right?
Yes. What about JoJo Doman from Nebraska?
No idea. I wish I could tell you more about him.
Darian Beavers from Cincinnati?
He's decent. I think that Cincinnati's best 2 defensive players were their cornerbacks. They had Kobe Bryant and Sauce Gardner.
Oh, yeah. Sauce Gardner. Let's get him for just a name. Sauce Gardner.
He's a very good corner.
So, all right, linebacker.
See, I'm nuts on this draft though. Like I have so many I have value in a lot of my thoughts. Like I think the number 1 wide receiver in this class, like the best wide receiver in this class, will get picked 5th, 6th, or 7th on the board. But this is just my eyes talking. Like
right.
I could be completely wrong. Like the kid from Arkansas could be the number 1 guy too. But I think the number 1 guy in this draft, as far as wide receivers go, is the kid from Penn State. And I'll say it again, Jahan Dotson has never had a good quarterback there, and he catches everything that goes near him.
Well, that's good because you're going to have to catch everything that goes near you, and this, depending if it's Jalen Hurts. So
I love
good,
it.
Good for him. I hope that'd be awesome. So what about any of these free agents? You got Devondre Campbell, Deontay Hightower. I can't even say his name, but he didn't really have a great season. Fodose Okolun, is that from
Oh, he's so fast. He's from Atlanta. He's a very quick linebacker.
Pro Football Focus has 71 out of 89, which I'm surprised.
Well, I don't care what PFF has him ranked. If he's in the right scheme, you can use that speed to your advantage. Like he might be Olakan. He might be I'm not kidding with you. He might be the fastest linebacker in football.
Just say he's projecting for 4 years, $10 million a year.
$10 million a year, so 4 years, $40 million.
Yeah.
No, the Eagles aren't investing. They get the hell out of here.
No. What about Leighton Vander Esch?
I don't want him.
Alexander Johnson.
I don't want him.
Okay. Anthony Barr?
I don't want him.
Okay. So we don't want any of these free agent guys. Gotcha.
Who do you want? It sounds like my show.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not as deep into the draft as you are. So the guys that I know that linebacker are going to purely be the guys I saw in the national championship game.
Okay.
So, but I could tell you from the guys that I know from the pros that I would not mind having. I wouldn't mind having the guy from the Falcons. I can't pronounce his name, but I know
Olaquan. But see, it's $10 million a year for a fast. He's very. Bro, I'll tell you right now, in the right scheme, he could be a poor man's Devin White.
Okay.
But it's got to be the right scheme.
I like Anthony Barr on a cheap deal.
Okay.
So, I wouldn't mind him at all. Because he's not going to, I don't think he'll cost a lot because he had to take a pay cut last year. And I don't think he's getting a big free agent contract.
You're getting aging linebackers at that point. Anthony Barr.
Well, I'm being realistic with what the Eagles invest.
30? He's 32?
Remember, we had...
How old is he? I'm serious. I don't know. I don't want to presumptuously say he's old when I just feel like he's old by watching him play.
I mean, he's got to be late 20s. Or it doesn't say his age, but he's got to be late 20s.
I'll look it up. It doesn't take me long. Just type the name and
he's got to be in the 30s, I think.
Anthony Barr age.
My thing with this is I'm being realistic about
29, turns 30 in a month.
I'm being realistic with what I think the Eagles will invest in that position. They're not going to put big money in there.
Correct. So now it brings you to the secondary, and man, see, like this is where I use my second, my third round draft picks to replenish your secondary. So Kobe Bryant from Cincinnati.
So weird hearing you say that. I know that you don't mean Kobe Bryant, but it's just like
would be an excellent second round draft pick.
Okay.
Excellent. So you have Avonte Maddox, you have Darius Slay, and then you have Kobe Bryant as your three.
You gotta go draft on that position too, because Slay's signed. I don't know how long he's signed for the Eagles more, but he's definitely there next year. And Avonte Maddox just got a contract. I don't see them handing out any other contracts, outside of that position without the draft. And I think you're right. Second or third round is where you got to go with that, because at the end of the day, you got to build depth for the future. And Rodney McLeod is the guy who has to. I mean, he's gone next year, right?
Rodney McLeod's gone.
Right.
It's almost completely gone.
Great Eagle. He's been a great Eagle, but
Steven Nelson's gone.
Yeah.
Cornerback. I think the Philadelphia Eagles have to really rely on Davion Taylor to step in the next role as this number 2 linebacker for them next year. Obviously, T.J. Edwards is going to be
Was that the kid they drafted out of Colorado?
Correct.
Okay.
Safety they turned into linebacker.
Yeah.
So that kid could easily, but you also need Kayvon Wallace to finally step up and be a starting safety next year. Like you need him to turn into be the development project that you wanted him to be.
Yeah.
You have Anthony Harris still. So you have Anthony Harris. You'll have Darius Slay, and you got to hope Kayvon Wallace steps into that strong safety position.
So
free safety.
If you had to go draft, and let's just say the Eagles decide to go, I don't know, safety in the first round, is there anybody worthwhile?
Kyle Hamilton.
That's what I was just going to say. Yeah, to Kyle Hamilton.
Kid from Notre Dame is unbelievable. He's a game changer. He'll probably go in the top 10 picks, but the last mock draft has him 15th. If he's there at 15, you take him. You don't think twice. He's a no doubt about it, no brainer. Like, all right, so let me tell you how good Kyle Hamilton is. This is going to sound really asinine, but I'm just going to put it to you real hard. Okay? That sounded really bad, actually. But
cut that audio, thanks.
But
for you to later use,
he could be like he could be a Hall of Fame safety. Like I don't want to put him in the class of like Dawkins, Reed, Polamalu, but I'm telling you, that kid is special.
So this is the short blurb they have on him on Pro.
I would love to hear this.
A 6'4", 220-pound Hamilton is a modern hybrid defender who could do whatever is asked. While he missed Notre Dame's final 5 games with a minor knee injury, he came down with 3 picks and 3 pass breakups in his first 7. So that's all they say about him. But they got him ranked as the number 1 on the board. big board rank is 3. I haven't heard him going high, but maybe he does. And behind him, they have Jaquan Brisker from Penn State.
So I need to respond to what Jack Hoff said on the. It's fine. I'm just calling him Rodney. What's its name? But I got to respond to this because that is complete and utter bullshit. And I'm hoping that you actually watch the game and aren't just commenting on that. Bama ran on them. Jamison Williams did not do well against Cincinnati's cornerbacks. They didn't get burnt all day. That is horse shit, what you just wrote. Like, I don't even know. Do you believe that shit you wrote yourself, or did you just, like, type it and think that it was, like, good? That is terrible comment, yeah. And, like, you got to back that up, dude. That's awful.
So.
Sorry. I love him, too. Rodney knows his shit. I just don't know if he watched the game, like, and said that. Like, that's absurd.
Fair. I would have played a sound effect, but, I'm going to burn my iPad after this tonight.
You liked his comment. What the hell is the matter with you?
Well, I mean,
it's an incorrect comment.
I liked it. Doesn't mean I like it.
Well,
I like everybody's comment. I'm sorry. I don't feel special, guys, but I do that to to get the people to.
Now he's liking them all. I can watch you.
Even during my show, you'll see me like everybody's comment. They might be like, Godfrey, you suck, and I'll like it. It's just how I roll with the likes. But yeah, I mean, I didn't see that game. I'm going to take your word for it. But
oh my God, they ran the ball. They didn't move the ball, throwing the ball. But do me a favor, pull up the Alabama-Cincinnati game and read me Bryce Young's numbers.
Alabama-Cincinnati game.
Playoff game. CFP.
I'm looking. Enhance. It was 27-6.
Yeah.
And yeah,
I just need to know the passing numbers.
So the passing numbers for Alabama was 17-28 for 181 yards.
So the Heisman Trophy quarterback that's thrown for over 300 yards every fucking game all year threw for 181. Go ahead.
And Jameis Williams had 7 catches for 62 yards, 0 touchdowns.
And the best receiver in the country before he tore his ACL didn't have 70 yards. Are you fucking kidding me?
4 receptions, 66 yards, and a touchdown for Ja'Cory Brooks.
Come on, dude.
Yeah. So yeah, they ran on him.
You're right. It is. Let me tell you, it's a projection.
Let me tell you what the rushing numbers were. 26 carries for 204 yards for.
They ran the ball. Yes. You don't want to throw the ball versus Cincinnati. Both those cornerbacks are studs. They're both going to translate to the next level perfectly.
Yep. There you go. I'm gonna have to agree with you on that after seeing those stats. I've been clued into the facts now. I'm gonna have to back you on that.
I watched a lot of football this year.
So that pretty much rounds out the Eagles.
No, it doesn't. I want Jonathan Gannon gone.
Oh,
I want the Texans to sign Jonathan Gannon, and I want Wink Martindale here. Give me Wink. And if I don't get Wink, give me Vic Fangio. And if I don't get Vic Fangio, get Rob Ryan's ass out of the ESPN booth and get him here.
Yeah,
I need a defensive coordinator that doesn't play pussy ball. Like, I don't want to watch pussy ball anymore. I don't want to watch soft zone. Let's let your quarterback throw the ball for 7 yards every goddamn play.
What about punter? I'm looking at Ray Finkel.
Punter?
Ray Finkel Jr.
Ray Finkel.
At a Ball State. No, I'm just joking. That would be funny if they.
I will say this. Cincinnati caught a lot of flack for taking Evan McPherson in the 5th round. First kicker that was taken this year.
He's doing it.
Yes, he is.
Did
you hear the story when he came on the field? Did you hear this?
No.
Oh, my God. Everybody, even the guys in the booth that don't even follow football that much will love this story. So Evan McPherson is, I know you do. Mike doesn't. I was mainly talking about Mike Jamie. Don't give me looks. So Evan McPherson comes on the field. It's a tie game. They're playing Tennessee. It's a 48-yard field goal. It's freezing cold. He goes over to Joe Burrow. He stretches his arm, stretches his leg. He goes, so I guess we're going to the AFC Championship game. And then proceeds to kick a walk-off 48-yard field goal.
That's great.
It was the most confident, cocky shit ever. This is the same guy that has the YouTube video of him kicking the soda cap.
I saw that. I did see that.
The kid's unreal.
He's
baby Tucker. Like, he's not ever going to be Justin Tucker.
Mm-hmm.
No one will ever be that good.
66-yard kick is hard to duplicate.
No one will ever be Justin Tucker. But if there's anyone that's going to get close, it'll be Evan McPherson.
Yeah, and and that could be also Joe Burrow rubbing off on him a little bit too. He has that swagger as well. So I mean, good for him, man. And listen, if you're gonna make a pick like that, you better make it fucking work. And it looks like they did. That's you might be able to get away with that in Cincinnati. If you make a pick like that and it doesn't work at Philly, you're gonna get roasted for it for the next 10 years.
Bro, the problem is they make and the last part of the perfect offseason I want to talk about before we get into coaches is I really can't understand how a man can miss so much on first and second round draft picks and it'd be like we just oh it's okay, he hit on this guy, and we make excuses for it because the guy's good at kicking the bucket, kicking the money down the road, and he's good at making trades presumptuously.
Yeah, he's gotta cash in. I mean, last year was a good draft for him.
100%. You get Devontae Smith, you pick up an extra first round pick. Yes, agreed.
But he likes to. He has. Andy Reid used to do this, and I think it's an organization like to reinvent the wheel. Let's not take any Alabama players. Let's not take any.
Bro, the Eagles didn't draft Alabama players for like 15 years before this past draft, and they drafted.
I didn't know it was that long, but I know I would watch it.
It's absurd.
It is absurd. You gotta.
It's the NFL. It's the NFL minor leagues. You're not drafting players from there.
Yeah, you gotta take the best player available on the board, and if it's Alabama, who cares, right? Take them. But they think they're smarter than everybody else, and that's what happens. But hopefully that doesn't happen this year.
Okay, so let's get into the coaching carousel because Brian Dable was just signed as a head coach for the New York Giants. And by the way, before I get into this little tangent, I hope Jonathan Gannon gets signed to the Houston Texans because that would be a terrible move for Houston. But I think Brian Dable deserved a head coaching job. What he did with Buffalo's offense and reinvent, like basically the development of Josh Allen and the development of that offense.
Gabriel Davis, I mean, he had a coming out party.
Yeah, understood. Brian Dable absolutely deserved a job. The other two jobs that were given to Matt Eberflus.
Mm-hmm. Eberflus. I forgot that name. Thanks for reminding me. Eberflus. Yeah. I mean, his name's not memorable. He's not memorable. I don't even know who the fuck he was until he got hired.
So, at one point, you have to sit back and be like, how much does race go into these hires?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm not trying to be smart when I say this, but why Eberflus?
So I have a anti-theory on that. I do believe what you're saying where I think race is involved. It has to be. I think these guys are too busy looking for the next Sean McVay in the unknown coach instead of looking for the next Mike Tomlin in the unknown young coach.
If you wanted to hire a defensive-minded coach that you wanted to gear around defense and then hire an offensive coordinator to focus on Justin Fields, why not Todd Bowles? He only just won a Super Bowl.
Well, I think Todd Bowles, I agree with that. I think Todd Bowles, people look at his previous head coaching job and they're like,
he was on the fucking Jets.
I know. I'm just telling you where,
roster matters.
You know what would probably help this is maybe they should make the interviews public. All of the interviews. That would be great TV. All of them. All the interviews.
I just look at this hire and it scares me because Byron Leftwich is a no doubt about it hire for Jacksonville and should be, yet they're still flying Vic Fangio in to interview.
Yeah, an argument you could have against Byron Leftwich is like, whoa, he was with Brady. But that doesn't work because I've seen guys get...
No, but all right, so Jameis Winston threw 30... Brady threw 30 picks, but threw 30 touchdowns and 5,000 yards with this guy.
I think Byron Leftwich is a natural choice. First of all, he was drafted by Jacksonville. He played with Jacksonville, had some success there as a player. He has roots there. He's an offensive-minded person
and with
a young quarterback there that can relate to a quarterback. It's like, what other situation? I thought, I was so surprised when you told me that they were still exploring other options. I read articles. I thought it was a fucking shoe-in for Byron Leftwich.
I thought so too.
And I'm like, are you kidding me? Because, listen, it doesn't make any sense. And I definitely think it's one of these things where you call it inherited bias, where they in their mind they think they can't find a good coach that's black to do it. And it has to be.
How Eric Bieniemy doesn't have a job yet. Has he had
any interviews yet? Broncos, right? Anybody else?
Not yet, because he's still in the playoffs picture. Yep. So maybe teams are waiting to speak with him until after the season. But the head coaching vacancies are starting to get filled. Eric Bieniemy's name is just getting put by the wayside again. Houston fires their head coach after one season, and it's obviously their front office, not their head coach. They're playing hard for him.
Yeah,
I feel like Jim Caldwell needs it. Dude, all right. So
how does Josh McDaniels get a second chance and not Todd Bowles?
Josh McDaniels didn't get a second chance yet, but they're speaking about it. I want to pull this up real quick because I think it's ridiculous. All right.
By the way, a friend of mine was in Vegas, and Mark Davis was in the same restaurant. He took a picture. He told me the hair is just as bad in person as it is on TV. Just guys, let you guys know. Worst hair of all time.
Okay, so Jim Caldwell's record as a head coach is 62-50.
Mm-hmm.
If you take out the 2-14 season where Peyton Manning decided to get surgery right before the season, and they walked into the season without Peyton Manning and no backup quarterback. That was the year like Orlovsky, they grabbed Matt Hasselbeck out of retirement. Do you remember that year?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you take the 2-14 season out, he's 60-36 as a head coach. The last 2 winning seasons the Detroit Lions had, the head coach was Jim Caldwell.
Yeah. There's really no excuse, and there's just jobs where you're like, well, this guy's it seems like the same standard isn't applied, right? And that's the problem here. Guys mess up and they're retreads and they get another chance, or it's part of the good old boys network. I mean, Arthur Smith, I think, was definitely one of those people.
That's a joke.
Yeah, it is.
Arthur Smith got a job over the job he did it with Tennessee over Eric Bieniemy, who beat him in the playoffs.
Yeah, and Arthur Smith's dad is co-founder of FedEx, so that's the good old boys network there too. I just don't understand.
And shout out to the Steelers, man, having the only organization right now with a black head coach in the NFL.
They better. The rule's named after the damn owner.
Don't say they better, because the Steelers organizations had like 3 head coaches over the last 50 years. Chuck Noll,
Bill Cowher,
and Mike Tomlin.
All have won.
And Mike Tomlin's never had a losing season.
Yeah, that's why I laugh when people say Rodgers, the Steelers. Mike Tomlin's not going to take that shit. So,
I disagree.
I
think Mike Tomlin would love. I mean, you're talking about a guy. You think Aaron Rodgers would be a problem in Pittsburgh? He coached Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown.
Oh, I know he knows how to do
Juju Smith-Schuster.
I know he knows how to do the job, but I just don't. I see them clashing. That's all.
They need a quarterback. And I don't think it's going to be Kenny Pickett like a lot of people do,
or Mason Rudolph.
Mason Rudolph's not the guy.
I know, but it's just funny when people say that. I mean, Josh McDaniels does not deserve a second chance. I'm sorry. He went to the Broncos and he ruined them. He is like, let's get rid of Cutler. I know Cutler's not the world beater, but he's definitely better than fucking Kyle Orton. Didn't he run Brandon Marshall out of town too? I mean, wasn't that a thing eventually?
I can't say he ruined the Broncos. I can't say that, bro.
He started out. I mean, that's what they say. All my Broncos fans, that they swear maybe they're wrong.
Josh McDaniels, in my opinion, did one of the most amazing things that you can do as a coach. He won 8 games with Tim Tebow.
Was that him?
Yes, I believe so. If I'm wrong, then I would look like a complete asshole, which is it wouldn't be the first.
So we got other coaching snubs, though, too. I mean, Brian Flores, you thought if they want to go defense in Chicago, like you said, that's who you go with, right?
Yes.
But they don't do that. Okay, fine. It just doesn't make any sense, and you got to start asking hard questions, They've been trying to fix this for years, and it hasn't happened. And the reason why it hasn't been fixed is the problem is with the people who wrote the rules. It's the owners.
Actually, it might have been John Fox.
It's the owners. 100% the owners, because they rate the rule, and so it's not happening because they're not enforcing the rule. They're not participating.
How many jobs are left? The Raiders is left. The Broncos. The Saints.
No, they're saying Nathaniel Hackett's pretty much it for the Broncos.
Oh yeah, Broncos are out. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The Raiders are left. The Saints are going to hire.
That's a new surprise one.
Dennis Allen. Jerry Jones came out and said that Dan Quinn turned down the Bears job, which means they offered it to Quinn first.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's some backdoor shit going on there, because a lot of people think, I don't think Sean Payton would go to, I don't think he's going to go to the Cowboys, but I do think Sean Payton's going to pull a Bruce Arians and come back to football a year later, and someone's going to have to give up draft picks for him. That's what I don't know what team, but I also will tell you that Dan Quinn, I think, is waiting to take and as an Eagles fan, I like this, but he's looking to take Mike McCarthy's job because I think he's a dead man walking. I think he's out after next year if they don't get to the damn NFC Championship game or more. They got to win a couple playoff games. If not, McCarthy's gone, in my opinion. I think he's going to be gone.
Okay.
And Dan Quinn's going to take his job. Or Kellen, whatever his fucking name is.
Brad Huber. I'm a bit late, but when did Lex Luthor take over hosting duties?
I killed Superman, bitch. No, he's here. When did Lex Luthor ever have a beard like this? Never.
Fair. But so you got the Raiders job left. The Saints are going to hire Dennis Allen. You can mark that down. The Jaguars, the Dolphins. Who am I missing?
The Dolphins are going with. I thought they were going with.
It's not named. Nobody's named.
Oh no, that's right. Nobody's named yet because Dable was rumored.
Who am I missing? Jacksonville. The Saints are going to go with Dennis Allen. You can just write them off. The Raiders, the Miami Dolphins, the Raiders,
Vikings,
the Vikings, and I think the Vikings go with Doug Peterson.
Oh,
so and the Texans. How crazy would it be if Brian Flores didn't get a head coaching job?
I think that's really crazy.
Could you imagine if that happens?
Yeah, you know what pisses me off about that is I think part of the reason that's happening is because Brian Flores has a strong personality, and they don't like that, and they should
stop making excuses for him.
No, I'm not making excuses for them. I'm saying that's why they're not doing it, and I think that's wrong because they're making him pay a tax other people wouldn't have to pay with a strong personality.
How about David Culley, man? He gets his first shot as a head coach,
and
older guy, and they fuck him.
Yeah.
Why do African American coaches have a shorter leash and get hired less?
It's the owners, man.
And correct me and tell me it's not racism.
How many black owners are there?
There's
0.
one minority owner. It's Shad Khan.
I thought he was the majority owner, Shad Khan.
No, I'm saying the minority, as in not white.
Yeah, that's it.
There's an Asian owner too. So
I mean, so you got to kind of.
There's currently 5 black GMs though. There was 2 going in off season.
Yeah.
So
well, Jimmy Johnson said something, and then he got lit up by what's the guy's name that hosts the show? I always get him mixed up with James Brown.
Jesus,
not that James Brown, the other James Brown.
I know who you're talking about, but it's crazy how we're having a conversation about race and you're getting 2 black guys.
Well, I just don't watch the post game or pre games a lot.
Kidding, bro.
But anyway, Jimmy Johnson goes, well, we need more black GMs. He's like, you shouldn't need black GMs to get black coaches.
He's absolutely correct.
He's right. And he's like, and Jimmy Johnson was like, and I know Jimmy's heart was in the right place, but it's an old school thought. Like, you shouldn't have to put black GMs to hire black coaches. I mean, problem is the owners are the ones that are really, I think, pulling the strings on this in a negative way.
Jim Harbaugh is going to take an NFL coaching job. I agree with you, Rodney.
I think so too. And this narrative that the Dolphins won't hire him because he's going to take away from Michigan, I think it's fool's gold. I think if this deal's sweet enough, he's going, especially since it's rumored that Jim Harbaugh said he had unfinished business. The unfinished business he thinks he has is he wants to win a Super Bowl. His brother has. He wants to win one.
He got to the college football playoff. He beat Ohio State. He feels like his job's done at Michigan.
Yeah. Just because the owner is a Michigan alum, I know your co-host from your other show wants to believe that they won't take Jim Harbaugh. I don't
think he will.
I don't think you will.
He donates a lot of money to that university. He's not going to take Jim Harbaugh away from it.
Yeah. I don't know, man. The university or a football team?
We have a lot of shows to talk about this, and I guess we'll continue talking about it in 2 weeks. Next week we will be off.
Yep.
I will be in the Bahamas, and Matt will be
in North Jersey.
North Jersey.
Beautiful North Jersey. But yeah, guys, we're running out of time, aren't we?
We're out of time. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we can end on that. Do we want to give a couple quick counterfeit greens?
I don't really have one.
You already have one?
I don't have one.
I have one. My counterfeit green is people who don't want to give credit when it's due. For example, listen, I've talked about this wildly. If Stafford makes it to the Super Bowl, I'm going to have to admit it was a good trade. My stance has been it's not. If they don't get to the Super Bowl, if they do, it did. The counterfeit green I saw this past week is, when you're a biased fan, Steelers, Jets, Bills, Eagles, some Eagles fans, and you don't want to give someone their credit.
Jets have fans?
No, but
I'm just kidding.
When you talk about the GOAT, they'll be like, it's not Tom Brady. And they'll come with all these reasons. And listen, you can have a different opinion, but it's counterfeit green when you give me opinions that are horrible. I had someone tell me that if Vic had the same position as Brady, he would do just as well. Like if he was on the Pats, the dynasty would have been the same. I was like, okay, sure. I said, you don't even deserve my response.
Yeah,
so
why do you even bring that up on the show?
Well, the reason why I'm bringing it up is part of my counterfeit green is you got to give credit when it's due. And it's counterfeit green not to give people their due, even if you didn't like who it was that accomplished it.
Agreed.
So hopefully next week or 2 weeks from now, I'm not eating my crow but on my stance, but there's a chance that I will be. So on that being said, thanks for listening. Thanks for coming in. Everybody get home safe. You're dealing with the snow locally. You know where to find us. All Amazon Music, all those great places. Google Birds Deep. You'll find us. This is Gene and me not saying goodbye, just saying take it birds deep.